Ryse, Son of Rome. This game is highly polarizing, it's not remembered super fondly, and it's kind of a bummer because it did a lot of stuff that was really cool. It just failed to release at the right time with the right features from the right team on the right console. So it kind of failed at everything, but it's still, I kind of like it. Commonly what it's praised for are the impressive visuals. I mean, this game released alongside the Xbox One back in 2013 and was considered to be the flagship title releasing for that console. This is what they showed people to demonstrate that the Xbox One was capable of pushing out high-end graphics like the PS4, and it succeeded. I still think the game looks pretty good even to this day. Sure, there are things I would change. You know, the hair is a little iffy and the HDR support is all over the place, but altogether it's not terrible. But where people's critiques mainly came in was in the gameplay, because there's a lot that it leaves to be desired, such as extremely stilted level design with basic arenas and waves upon waves upon waves of enemies, simple attack animations and parries, some cool executions to be fair, but this game never feels as though it's really coming out with its arms swinging. Time and time again, it just feels like a tech demo that didn't get its chance to be fully converted into a video game. In this video, I'm going to break down some of my extended thoughts and explain why I think that this game actually did a lot really well and why it's such a bummer that we probably will never see a sequel or another chance for this game to redeem itself. But before I jump into that, I want to say, for one, thank you for watching and subscribing and ringing the bell. That's always appreciated. And also, if you haven't already, head over right now to the Luke Stevens Live YouTube channel. I'll have it linked in the description box below the like button. Head over there, give it a sub, ring the bell so you get notified. This is where we're streaming currently because Twitch is imploding and slowly exploding. And we post live stream highlights. We have the full streams cataloged here. It's a great time and a great place to hang out. And as I mentioned recently, for a bunch of reasons, I canceled my Patreon. So if you want to support me financially, the best way to do it is by hitting this join button over here. You get badges in those live streams, and you also financially support me far better than you would be if you were, say, throwing money over on Twitch. So I appreciate all of you. Go check this out. We're probably live at the moment you're watching this video. So head over there, and if I'm live, you'll see a little banner here saying, "Ooh, live, check it out." So head over there. I'll look forward to seeing you. But okay, let's get a taste for the actual gameplay that we have here. So as you can see, graphically, it still is very impressive. I mean, just the look of these hordes of enemy soldiers racing towards you with the one goal of killing you, it sets the mood. And whatever you think of this game, you have to compliment it for being extremely cinematic. And I'll also give them credit. I think the writing is relatively interesting. The world they built here is sort of a hybrid of actual historical precedent and then also a lot of interpretation and sort of fudging of the narrative. It works pretty well and it feels respectful to the original content and context of history, but also it feels unique enough that if you're a Roman history buff, this is still something different enough that you'll probably get something from it. So they do this thing where they occasionally present you with a choice. You can elect to target the siege engines or to target the siege towers. In this case, no siege towers will reach the wall, but a bunch of fire will come in, or we can stop incoming projectiles, but the siege towers will reach the wall. This doesn't change much of anything in the story or anything. It just changes this particular combat encounter a little bit. If you choose to attack the towers, there will be less enemies that rush you over the course of this mission, but you will have random projectiles and AoEs that you got to deal with. Whereas if you attack the siege engines, you stop the projectiles, but a lot more enemies come in. So there's no right or wrong answer. It's just whatever you choose and whatever you like. So here the ladders coming up. We can run over, kick them down. Get out of my village. Same with this one. Kick it over. Woo, so much fun. Cutting edge, next gen. So you notice the animations are actually pretty robust and pretty hairy. We can dodge. We have a light attack. We have a heavy attack that we can use. It's not actually that bad. And it's effectively just a simple attack, parry, attack system. It's not that complicated. But once you get the hang of it, it's relatively easy. And right here we can do a finisher, and you notice there are these color-coded flashings, blue, yellow, and red. That's because this game was originally meant to be a Kinect title. Let me explain. So back when this game was originally pitched, it was shown as, again, a Kinect title. It was supposed to be something where you physically swing with your hands, and then you can make the sword movements, and you can actually deal the damage to kill the characters. It was pretty cool. Like, you actually swing, and after the swing you can move, and it tracks you perfectly, and then the combat is all tied into this actual stuff. So in theory, if you're really good at sword stuff in real life, you'll be really good at this game. It's a cool concept. Problem is, well, the Kinect kind of sucked. It's kind of a big oversight if you're going to base your game on that system. And it's like, no, everybody hates it. Oh, okay, yeah, oops. And over the course of development, they decided that this just wasn't working. It wasn't going to be fun playing it on Kinect. So they elected to go with a standard hold the controller and play on the couch sort of game, which I can appreciate. But remnants of that original design remain, such as the color-coded finisher series thing where you're expected to know that X is blue, Y is yellow, red is for B, and A is green. And once you have that muscle memory, then you're fine, you can do it. But I did ask my wife to try this, and she can follow button prompts if it's like X, Y, B, A. But when it comes to like the color-coded stuff, she has no idea. Like, why would she know? Especially because most of Xbox's controllers, especially the nice ones now, don't have color-coded buttons anymore. But you know what? Maybe it's just a remnant of its time and we can just move past that. But to be honest, like I said, you don't play Ryse Son of Rome for the gameplay. You play it for the story and for the cinematics. It's basically a short, anywhere from like 5 to 7 hour, pretty interactive movie with occasional combat sequences that get very old by the end of it, but you know what, the game's short, so you can kind of move past it. And in that capacity, it's fairly successful. I think the issue is that at launch, charging full price for this would be a major issue, without a doubt. But now, being on Game Pass, you can just enjoy this over a weekend for some quick and easy fun, and it's not that bad if you approach it that way. To be clear, there is also a multiplayer component of the game. It's like completely busted. Nobody is ever online. I did a video last year where I covered this game and talked about the development process. I'll have that linked in the description box below. And I tried to play the multiplayer for that video, and I sat in a queue for a solid like 40 minutes or whatever it was, and just never found anybody to matchmake with. So that's a bummer. I dropped my controller. But other than that, it's like pretty solid. And I mean, just look at these set pieces and these cutscenes. It's flashy. But I mean, again, it just goes to show you that great graphics and cinematic cutscenes and things do not a great game make, because you can have all of that and it still feels like a tech demo that's just not fully fleshed out. And that's unfortunately where we're at with Ryse Son of Rome. But this is effectively all the game really has to offer. It's just like a series of linear pathways and rooms that you're expected to walk through while killing people and doing stuff like that. I mean, there's a couple interesting things that they do, such as this menu you can pull up where you can change the payout you want. So every time you get a finisher on an enemy, you can choose to get higher XP payout. You can choose to get damage increase, to increase this. Oh crap, I'm trying to explain things while I'm fighting. It doesn't work well. But like here, I do this finisher, boom. And then after I finish it, assuming that I pressed all the right button prompts, I get the little bonus based on what I selected. And like if you're fighting somebody really tough, you can hit this one to get the health regen. And then I do this, and you'll notice after it's done and after I've killed him, I get the little health boost, and boom, I'm refilled on health. Now, if it feels as though there's not a lot to this video and to this topic, I mean, that's about right. There really isn't that much, just because there's not much to the game. It's pretty, what's the PR approved word? Lean. It's a lean experience, but what it offers, it does relatively well. Somehow it still kind of feels like it overstays its welcome, even though the game is really, really short. But either way, like, Game Pass just, it changes things. And I've talked about this before, but like, as a reviewer and a critic, it used to be like, oh, well, you know, Last of Us Part 1, $70. Yeah, that's really steep because it's the same game at the end of the day. It doesn't change enough to really justify that expense. I can conclude that. That's my verdict. But with something like Ryse Son of Rome, it's like, yeah, so the game's old and it's not that great. It's very cinematic. But honestly, because it's on Game Pass, if you already have Game Pass, you're not putting any extra money up. So there's like no big barrier to entry in the form of a big $60 price tag on the game new, which really opens up a lot of freedom and agency to the player. Like if you even are moderately interested in this based on what you're seeing, you can just decide to try it. Like you can even stream it through the cloud to your phone. It just changes everything. Like you try it for 30 minutes, you might love it. It might become your new little cult classic obsession, or you might absolutely hate it and be like, I am damn glad I didn't pay $60 for that back at launch. Goodness gracious. But because you already have Game Pass, you just try it. The only thing you have to lose is your time. And worst case scenario, you just tried a game that you didn't really like and you can move on after giving it a shot. I think it's been one of the greatest assets that older games have at their disposal because they empower the player to just experiment and try things in games that they wouldn't have tried before. I recommended a bunch of games that are currently on Game Pass that people have tried and ended up loving, such as The Forgotten City, which is absolutely freaking tremendous. Like seriously, if you've never heard of The Forgotten City and you like narrative games that are extremely well done, even with a very, very small team, go check out The Forgotten City. Jacob will put up footage right here. You can see what it looks like. I did a dedicated video on it last year because I thought that it was absolutely tremendous. I cannot recommend it enough. And that's another game a lot of people wouldn't try or put up like $20-30 for, but because it's on Game Pass, you can just try it and end up discovering one of the greatest indie releases of the last few years, just because you decided to give it a shot. And with Ryse, Son of Rome, it's another case where a lot of people that didn't give this game a shot because it was memed on and because it was so, I mean, let's be honest, it's just easy to bash this game. There's like very limited gameplay offerings. It's super short. It released on the Xbox One at the peak of just the disaster that was the Xbox One and Kinect debacle. It exemplifies everything that was wrong with 2013 gaming. I get that and I understand it, but a lot of people that didn't play it because of that now are getting to try it through Game Pass and other offerings, and they are having a great time discovering an old hidden gem that's certainly not a perfect gem, but it's still a gem, and it's, you know, worth having just for the experience of it, you know? So I guess my broader point is if you find this to be even moderately interesting, give it a shot. Try it over the weekend. You have nothing to lose as long as you already are subscribed to Game Pass. But if you are left here being like, I don't know, it doesn't look very good and I'm not that interested and I don't see that there's a lot here. Yeah, that's that's about right. There's not a lot here. I mean, I will say some of these enemy designs are kind of cool. Like the combat does shake it up and it does get a little tricky, and I will give them credit. If we go into the menu, you can see we have a bunch of executions available to us. If we click on that, we can buy out all of these different executions using a currency you earn while playing the game. So as you progress, you can just unlock these different things, and you notice I have them all unlocked, and you end up having a pretty decent time. It mixes things up, and you know, it makes it so you feel like you're at least progressing somewhat by getting cool new executions by the end of the game. I will say they don't trigger completely properly all the time, so you end up doing the same execution like 15 times in a row, and then you do a different one. It's a little clunky, but again, that's part of why we love it, right? It's not a bug, it's a feature. But I think I'll stop there, for one, because it's like 82 in this room right now. I have a little AC unit and thermometer here because it gets so hot in here so quickly. So I'm going to call it there before I start sweating like a pig. And also because there's just not a lot to say about this game, but if it seems even moderately interesting, you should check it out. And I have a dedicated video describing the development of this game, how it came to be and what went wrong, which again, I'll have linked below. And again, head over to Luke Stevens Live, secondary YouTube channel. We have live stream clips and highlights. Basically any topic I want to discuss that doesn't fit onto this main channel, I put it up there. We're doing like 3 videos a day, anywhere from 2 minutes long to 45 minutes long. It's a great time. Go check it out. Subscribe, ring the bell. I'd love to see you over there. With that, I'm gonna go eat some sushi that is waiting for me upstairs. I love you all. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.